So in this video, I want to touch base on property auctions. There is a lot of confusion around auctions. I nearly got burnt in my very first auction. I had a lucky escape. So you can lose money if you're not careful with this, but they are a great way to find below market value properties. But there's two things that you've got to do is, one, you've got to be ready to go. That is the key fundamental to getting an auction property purchase and making it successful. And two, you've got to have a figure, and you must not go over that figure when you're getting in the auction room or online as it is these days, because it's easy to go, oh, I'll just go another grand. I'll just go, and all of a sudden you're like 5-6 grand more than you should have, and your deal doesn't work anymore. You have to do your research before the auction starts. Go and do your viewings, make sure you cost everything up, and then you've got to have your maximum figure. It might not be your starting figure, but you've got to have a maximum figure. And when that's ticked, you pull out. There's plenty more properties, and auctions are a great way to find below market value deals, but you have to be careful. Now, another reason you've got to be careful is the speed that you have to transact on these things. So they're in auctions because estate agents are very good these days at pitching that they can sell the house quickly if they discount it down. So you see here, they're all guide prices. Typically the reserve price will be 10% above these guide prices. No, add 10% on, and you'll get to where you are. So that's probably what the vendor's looking for. So if you can make your numbers work on that, great. If not, just go to your number. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to get that. And if they're getting less than that, then the market's telling them that their property's worth less than that, and therefore they might be more open to considering your offer. Now, I'm going to pop this link in the comments below for you, because I think it's really important in terms of how auctions work. Now, they are also changing quite a bit. So this is from Agents Property Auction, and the price guides and the guides, but this is the main thing. There's two types of auctions. One is an option one. So when the gavel falls in the auction room or online, on an option one contract, it's deemed that the property is exchanged. Okay, so you've exchanged on the property straight away. You must complete on that property, and you have to pay an immediate 10% deposit. Now, completion must occur within 28 days. And to allow this to happen, the legal packs of these properties are put online before the auction happens, so you can investigate them yourselves, or more importantly, you should be giving them to your solicitor and saying, could you investigate that for me? I'm thinking about buying it. The downside of that is you're more than likely going to get your solicitors charging you a few more fees, but I got a deal with mine where I, don't mind paying her, and she knows that she's going to get a lot of business from me. So we've got that sort of agreement. I'm not getting charged for every one. It's just a quick check and a smaller fee, because I do put a lot her way. So you have to have those agreements in place and try and work with the same solicitor. But it's important that you check the legal side of things and the legal packs before you go into an option one, because you've exchanged the minute the auction's finished and you win it, you've exchanged. Option two is you still have to pay a deposit, and it's non-refundable. I have bought properties in auctions before and agreed a covenant in the terms and conditions along the lines of, I haven't been able to get a survey done, I think it's got subsidence or something like that, and I might say, so I'll buy it, but I do want the option that if the survey comes back and says it's X, that I have the option to pull out and get my money back. That is where having relationships with an auction house comes into play, and typically that would be on properties that are maybe being sticking around and they're on the online auction as opposed to in the room auction. But just because it says that on the terms, it doesn't necessarily mean that you can't negotiate the terms. I always try and negotiate the terms in my favor if I'm a bit unsure of anything. But in an ideal world, you want to be going to an auction confident, knowing what your numbers are and ready to commit, because you know what the refill costs, etc. are going to be. So option two is you exchange contracts within 28 days, and you've got a further 14 days after that to complete. So again, none of these options are going to work if you're taking a mortgage out to fund the purchase. It would take too long, and you would end up paying a lot of fees. You'll end up either losing your deposits in full, you could get chased for the interest and also the vendor's mortgage payments, which happened to me in the first one I bought because I was too slow. So you've got to be careful. Those fees quickly rack up because the interest rates are silly. So you've just got to be very, very careful. Now, this particular auction has an administration fee, which is payable by obviously the buyer, which is us. So you've got to factor those fees in as well. And some auction houses I know have two types of auctions, and one of the options could be a £6,000 administration fee. Now, they kind of say, well, the property actually comes £6,000 cheaper. Most investors, particularly myself, hate this type of auction because I just feel as though I'm getting ripped off paying £6,000 for a fee. And basically we're paying the fee to buy the property and the seller's not paying anything to sell the property. But by the by, if you want to buy the property and that's what fees attached to it, you're going to have to pay the fee. Just note, you cannot fund the fee. So if you're going to be doing bridging finance, you cannot fund the fee. They will only take the purchase price of the property, not including the fee. So if you're thinking you're going to buy a property for 100 grand, you'll end up paying 106,000, and you will only be able to get typically a 70% bridging on that 100,000. You wouldn't be able to get it on the 106,000. So just another point to be aware of there when you are going into auctions. When you're bidding, you will have to get fully set up before ID checks, all that sort of stuff before for money laundering purposes. And you've got to move quick. Moving quick is the biggest thing, but don't let this put you off. Just get all your ducks in a row. Get all your ducks in a row, because these sites, they've all got really, really good deals. And this is where you can get some really good below market value properties. There's a reason they're in the auction. Either the vendor wants a quick sale or the property's not selling at all, so they're trying to expose it to investors. So they are super powerful. I'm going to drop this buyer's guide into the course, so you'll be able to find it in your comments and be able to just read it yourself. Do your due diligence before you get into any sort of auctions and any properties, but use them. Honestly, it's a great source for getting properties. There's typically 3 or 4 auction houses in every sort of location, and you will probably get end of month auctions or at least 30-day auctions, live auctions in the room. But you can still bid, like you can see here. You can actually bid. You see there, time left 30 days, 30 days. So you can actually bid on 25 days, 25. So, you know, these are actually ending online. These are online auctions, probably not going to the room. So, and if agreed, they might cancel the auction early. You know, you could try and say, well, I'll pay this, but I want a decision now and I want the auction to end if they accept the offer. You know, so you can, you know, again, it's just about building those relationships up. So have a dig around, find your auction houses, and, you know, make sure you use them, do your due diligence, and you'll find some great below market value properties.